Honourable Heather Roy.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I rise to take a short call on the second reading of the Sarah Bill on behalf of the ACT Party, and I participated in the Select Committee process, the hearing of evidence as we've gone through this bill under urgency. I would say, Mr Speaker, that when it comes to principle, that the ACT Party would not normally be in favour of such broad sweeping powers as we see in this bill, and we would raise a large number of concerns under normal circumstances, but these aren't normal circumstances, Mr Speaker, and what we have really is a terrible coinciding really of principle and circumstance as the result of a terrible, terrible natural disaster. And we've heard not just as part of the proceedings of this particular bill, but since the first earthquake on September the 4th, of the situation that those people in Canterbury are facing and are going to face for a large number of years yet. As one submitter yesterday, I wasn't there for that particular submission, but one submitter said yesterday that extraordinary times call for extraordinary measures, and that is exactly what this Parliament is faced with in this particular instance. The ACT Party is supporting the provisions in this bill, and I'd like to say that I did particularly enjoy the Select Committee process where we did have robust discussion around a large number of the clauses and with varying views being put on the table. I did have some concerns, as I know did the Labour Party, about some process issues. I felt it was unfortunate that technical advice wasn't quite as forthcoming as it may have been in the first instance, and difficult to make good decisions when you don't have the availability of all the advice that you need. However, we worked our way through those issues, I think, and I would like to say that it was very good of the Minister to make a submission to the Select Committee that certainly did help with working our way through many of the provisions. I don't want to talk in detail about the clauses. I think there's been plenty of discussion already about that, and the committee stage is the appropriate place to have those discussions and debates. But I come back always to broad principles, and it is incumbent on us to do our very best for the people of Christchurch. This is a little outside the scope of the bill, I suppose, but the ACT Party's view is that in order to fix Christchurch, we actually need to fix New Zealand. And we will all, of course, look with great interest at what happens in the budget. New Zealand is facing difficult circumstances, quite aside the natural disasters that we have suffered in the last year particularly. We, the ACT Party, will have a lot to say about making wise fiscal decisions, particularly for the country, in order to be in very good shape to help Christchurch and Canterbury out to the best of our ability. So I'll conclude, Mr Speaker, just by saying again that the ACT Party does support these measures. Under normal circumstances we would probably have a lot more to say in a negative sense about them, but come back to the point that extraordinary times do indeed call for extraordinary measures.